We have an elite prospect getting called up. We got a lot of FAAB to talk about, and we actually have, for the first time all year on Sunday, we have a baseball game still going on at the moment. So I hope everybody joins us for the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast coming up next. Happy Sunday evening, everybody. Welcome to the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. We appreciate you joining us. If you're joining us live, joining us in the audio version, we appreciate it either way. I am Scott Jenstad, joined as always on Sunday nights by Jeff Erickson. If you could please rate and review the podcast. You enjoyed listening to us all year. We'd greatly appreciate that. Helps people find the podcast, which is always a very good thing for all of us. Jeff, we're almost in September. I know I keep talking about how there's still a lot of time left in the season, but there's not that much time left in the season. We're getting to September. It's coming fast, and it's a lot of fun. But how are you tonight?
I'm well. There's too much time left in this season as far as I'm concerned, but maybe not. Maybe there's time for us to get a little higher even. Who knows? But hey, this is great. I mean, it's about to be just chaos on Sundays in 2 weeks. Enjoy this now where you have the focus on baseball. For a couple more things, but football season is really ramping up. We had a huge draft weekend sign-up season. We had college football starting right here. I know I'm going to show that off a little bit there. Go Cats! Best team in Dublin right now, so we got that going for us there. But no, things are great. Things are really great, and keeping hopping. Girls are going back to school tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Wild, busy time.
We started on Thursday, so it's that's good.
Mm-hmm.
I probably won't watch another Northwestern game all year, but you guys were the main event on Saturday. It was kind of fun. It was the only real name versus name game that was going on. There's some other games, but I think that was that big. And in Ireland, they had free beer for the whole second half because the internet went down. It was quite the event there.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you weren't there having to get us, but I guess you had just been there a month ago.
I have been to that stadium. It's a beautiful stadium.
Is it a soccer facility normally?
A soccer and hurling, I believe.
Oh, hurling, yeah. All right, there you go.
And I think rugby is played there as well. And, but I saw Ireland versus Scotland there in soccer.
Oh, nice. So you actually not stop, but you actually went to a game there.
Yeah.
Oh,
so awesome. It was awesome. And they do serve Guinness at the stadium. I mean, that's pretty darn awesome. And it's super fresh, obviously. It was great. And I saw that the manufacturer, when they ran out of it there, that they said they did the right thing by continuing to serve it.
Yeah.
And
sure, I guess I assume it's cashless only, and just the credit card thing went down, so they couldn't take money. So
and then they ran out.
They actually ran out too.
And the thing is, I saw the report on that, and everyone's like, did Wisconsin go or something? I
was about to say that was 85% Nebraska people drinking the beer, right? Probably.
Yeah. I mean, considering they probably outnumber us on a 3-2 basis from what I could tell in the coverage.
I would have guessed a lot more than that. So that's actually not
might be more than that.
Nebraska travels. That place, they are serious about their team.
Well, exactly. They are, and their school is 20,000, 30,000 students, and we're a school of 7,500 students. So you can do the math there in terms of the alumni also.
Hey,
but
starting 1-0, no matter who you beat, where you beat them is always a good time. So that's good.
Yeah.
But let's jump into the baseball. It's getting pretty wild. People can look at standings, but your main event team is doing really well. You guys made a really big move this week, so it should be a lot of fun on this podcast here the last month. I'm hoping it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it gives having a live sweat is good. I mean, I actually peaked. We actually peaked higher earlier in the week after that. The Matt Olson hit a ball into the river game.
My God, that was a
all three Braves did something that game. Dansby, Harris,
crushed.
and Olson for us. Watching the Braves is always fun. Michael Harris just had a nice little going away present, a little double for us there to finish this game. But the Cardinals just finally won. We got a rare Giovanni Gallegos save, by the way.
Yeah, I have Ryan Helsley. They brought him in with 2 outs in the 7th. He gave up a home run, but it was the right spot for him. He's been their best pitcher all year, and 2 on, and it was the right spot. It was frustrating as a fantasy player to not get the save, but I think he gets the win unless the official store decides to do something weird.
Well, Adam Wainwright was playing his wares for us in the game, so it's frustrating not to get the win. But
and the 2 runs that Helsley stuck on you. But
that's
Wainwright pitched well, and we sometimes critique critique some TV broadcasts. I thought the mic on Wainwright while he was warming up this evening was really cool. Like he was really open about stuff. He talked about stuff. They didn't go to commercial. He was like they showed his whole warm up routine and the anthems, and it was really cool to see him just like kind of talk through what he does as a 36-year-old pitcher who's done it forever.
Right.
But it was a really good clip. It was really cool they had that.
Yeah, exactly. And I can't complain. Wainwright allowed 2 runs in 6 2/3. Didn't walk anybody
against the Braves too. That's a good outing.
Yeah, it was a day where we got 3 wins, a save, and 21 strikeouts. So I needed the homer, and I have Dansby, so I needed the homer more than I needed the win, probably.
That was I saw you guys were up with lots of points, so it's gonna be fun. We've got about 5.5 weeks left, and I always tell people, give me a chance on September 1st to have a good season. That's all I want, and we'll see what happens from there. But being in the mix for any league if you're in, or an overall if you're in, this is the time that makes it thun. But speaking of not fun, Jeff, I want to start off with talking about someone who didn't give up a run the first 2.5 months of the season. Was a second, third round draft pick. Most usually a second round in the 15-team NFBC leagues. But Josh Hader is a mess right now. I think he gave up 6 runs today, if I'm not mistaken, the third of an inning. He was into 5 or 6. His ERA of the year is now over 6.5, which is like, if I had told you that 2 months ago, you would have thought that I was the craziest person of all time. Like his ERA was 0. I think his first 19 outings. He's now 6.5, 6 earned runs. He's obviously lost the closer job in San Diego already. This probably pushes him even further back. I actually upped my bid on Nick Martinez after this outing just because I was like, well, the leash got tighter and tighter on Hader getting the job back. So what does one do? Let's just talk about fantasy league with Josh Hader. Do you drop him right now? Do you hold him and hope that maybe he takes 2 weeks off on a fake IL stint? I think you tweeted about that earlier. Yeah. What the hell does one do? I mean, we're here to talk fantasy leagues. What does one do with this guy right now? Just bench him or do you drop him?
Oh boy.
I have him in a 12-teamer, so I benched him I benched him last week.
How are you doing in saves?
Really well.
I'd drop him then.
I considered it. I'm going to hold 1 week and kind of see what happens. I'm probably going to drop him next week.
You treat him like you treat a Aroldis, as far as I'm concerned.
I dropped Aroldis on that same team.
Yeah. If we get a tattoo infection from Hader, I would not be surprised. I mean,
holy hell! Of all the Chapman things, he gets he went on the aisle. If everybody saw it, he went on the aisle with a leg infection from getting his sister's portrait tattooed on his body, which is. If you had the bingo card with Aroldis Chapman, it's crazy. But it's I don't know. I held him. I mean, the upside is obviously high, but he's been lost. It's not been lost for a couple of weeks. He's been lost for a couple of months now.
Yeah. It dated back to June. I know his wife had a tough pregnancy with in giving birth, and that can cause a lot of stress. I don't know though. I mean, the thing is, he's still striking guys out. That's on the 24th. Which was Wednesday, he was pitching another mop-up game. It was like a 6-1 lead, I think, in that one. Or maybe, no, it might have been a 6-1 deficit. I forget which. But, he struck out the side now. He gave up 2 hits. But one of those hits came after he didn't get the call. And that's one of the things. When you're walking the ballpark, when you're going through a tough stretch, when you have command issues, as he has had, you don't get the marginal calls.
It's true.
The game that I was at a week and a half ago against the Nats, I mean, he walked – Cruz on 4 pitches to walk in a run, and the last pitch was kind of close, I thought, but you weren't going to get that call because he had hit a batter on a 57-footer. Wasn't even, and it was not only short, but it was it was like even with the batter's box. I mean, it wasn't like it was still breaking in at the time. I mean, it was just so bad of a pitch, and that's kind of like you're gonna lose when your command's that far off. You're not going to get any benefit of the doubt. So.
In the last month and a half, he's had 3 outings where he gave up 3 runs and 2 outings where he gave up 6 runs. That is like starting pitchers don't. Like it's in there's a reliever. It's he's had 1 clean inning since he went to San Diego. His first outing there, where he got a win and pitched faced 3 batters and got them all. He has not had a clean inning since then. It's just I don't begrudge anybody dropping him. I held him for another week to kind of see what happens if he gets a couple clean outs this week. But it's hard to see him back closing games, anytime in the next 2 or 3 weeks at least, right?
Yeah. I wonder, when you guys that have extreme velocity and then start to lose it, do you think they get afraid of maiming someone when they throw that hard and don't have the command? And that's because there's a lot of talk about Chapman not wanting to throw his fastball. And I heard a little bit about that with Hader too. And you just,
it could be. I mean, if you're worried about where it's going, you throw 98. Obviously, that's a weapon right there. But Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's giving up hits. He's not just walking guys; he's walking guys, and he's giving up hits. He's hittable. It's just it's very strange, and it's someone that he gave up his first earned run of the year on June 7th. He had not given up a run until June. It's a remarkable turn of events.
Yeah, it really is, and honestly, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the fix is here. For you hear about like Steve Blast disease, and. Yeah,
Rick Ankiel disease for the younger people.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe even younger still. We need to get somebody else, but yeah.
Yeah, it's rough. I mean, obviously, he's an easy bench. Like, there's no way I'm using him right now. I benched him this week, thank goodness. But he's not getting saves. He's not pitching in any high leverage spots. If you do hold him, he's definitely a bench. And if you drop,
we've got 5 FAAB weeks left, right? Yeah. So I think that is all the more reason to encourage making. Just the hammer's got to fall.
Yeah, I think you got to be aggressive with drops. I'm very of that belief in the last month here too. Do you have a team that's a mess? The White Sox are a mess right now. They got swept at home by the Diamondbacks this week. They fell 5.5 behind Cleveland. They can't get guys on the field. Like Eli Jimenez missed again today. Luis Robert has been in and out. Obviously, Tim Anderson's out. Tony La Russa's team is asleep at the wheel. You think this team has any chance of kind of figuring this thing out before the end of the year here?
What a mess. I mean, La Russa did the intentional walk on a 1-2 count thing again this week. It didn't hurt him, except for just everybody pointing at him and laughing. Words hurt, man.
Right. Yeah.
But and you can point to the injuries, but their starting pitching in the non-Dylan Cease category has been horrific. Even Cueto got rocked on Friday night by the Diamondbacks.
He's been awesome for them too, and he finally got hit. But I mean, Giolito, going from ace to a guy that you can't throw it all is really tough. It's a rough stretch there. Cease was tough today. Guy gives up 2 hits, both home runs, and gets a no decision. That was if you needed wins, that was a tough one to stomach right there. But he pitched
absolutely. Yeah. But I mean, the White Sox were starting. Romy Gonzalez was your leadoff hitter.
Yep.
Batting and playing second. There was no, Pollock was in there. Elvis Andrews are from our A's, formerly of our A's.
Now, if you're picking up guys, the A's drop, you might be in trouble.
Yeah. No Jimenez, no Robert, no Moncada just went on the IL, but he's been terrible all year. No Grandal all year, basically.
And when he's been there, he's been terrible also.
Yeah. It's just a mess. I mean, and they can't, and they're just not getting starting pitching. Joe Kelly's been terrible. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know what the fix is. Graveman, he's got a 2.70 ERA, but he's got a 1.39 WHIP. So that gives you any idea of really how effective he truly is there.
Did you see the Hendrick blown save the night after Engel dropped the fly ball?
Oh yeah, that was Friday. That was Thursday. Yeah, Thursday night.
So bad.
Engel, the defensive replacement. Yeah. By the way,
fly ball in foul territory just literally bounced. You could see him kind of just take his eye off the ball and boom.
Yeah, because he was worried about the net.
Yeah, and then dude hits his first career home run.
Next pitch, right?
Yeah. I think Hendricks had saved 18 in a row before that too. He'd actually been pitching really well, but yeah, it's a mess there. You look at the AL wild card, and the White Sox have fallen out of that. You've got it's a good race. It's fun. Tampa, Seattle, and Toronto are the 3 wild card teams right now, all within a game and a half each other. So there's nobody that's run away with the wild card, even like there is in the NL. The Braves and Mets, whoever doesn't win the division is going to be an easy wild card team. And then you got Baltimore, who's really fun and playing well right now, game and a half back. Minnesota 3 back, still in the mix. That's a fun little 5-team race for 3 spots. I don't love the extra playoff spots, but that's gonna be a fun September with that race.
Yeah, it is. It is. Not so much for the White Sox, and it's not just the number of games too. It's also the number of teams.
Yeah. When you got to jump 1 team, that's one thing. You got to jump 3 teams. That gets really tough, really fast. You need 3 teams to not play great.
Yeah. I mean, you got the Blue Jays are in a bad place right now. They got swept at home by the Angels.
This is a weird week. They can't score. The Yankees can't score, and the Astros can't score all weekend long. It was. The Orioles just shut the Astros offense down this weekend.
Yeah, except for Bregman, basically. Bregman today was the difference, basically.
Yeah, I think he has 3 runs today. It was actually that was an outburst for them today. They didn't get shut out yesterday. It was rough.
And I know you're acutely aware of this because you have him in your Vegas main, but Jordan Alvarez hasn't done a whole lot lately.
I know, and he's we're going to talk about news and notes, but he's got another hand issue too, which is does not make me especially pleased. Luckily, I have a lot of offense in that league, but losing someone like that would be massive, no matter how good your offense is.
Of course, he's on our Vegas main, and that's one of the reasons why we dropped back this week. We were at
your online main is the one that you're doing well in, right?
Yep. Okay. Vegas main, we're in 4th in our league, and
Matty Wood still winning.
Yes, I believe so. Last I checked, I was on his podcast this week. Fun time.
I did see that. How that went well.
Oh yeah, it was flew by. Hour flew by like that.
Matty's great. I love him.
Yeah, he knows his pitching very well, and he's like trying to prescribe cures for my team.
Did he try and get you to curse on their podcast?
No, I made a joke about that at the very end though. I missed an opportunity to curse. And Matty's still winning. Bat flip second and Posma's third.
Oh, that's
tough to break into that.
That's a fun and good top of the league right there. Wow.
Yeah.
So the AL wildcard is great. The NL wildcard it's actually pretty good too. Although the Mets Braves winner is going to be in. They're like 9.5 up on the other teams. Whoever does not win that division, but we got Philly up 2.5 on San Diego. You got Bryce Harper back this weekend with Philly in the playoff mix. It's all you wanted, so that's really good there.
Yeah.
Milwaukee is 1.5 back, so we're kind of 3 teams for 2 spots there. I think the next team is like 6 or 7 back. We got a 3 team for 2 spot there race too. So we got some good fun races down the stretch here.
Yeah. The thing is, like Milwaukee, it could have even been better. They had a gut punch loss on Friday night, where they blew it in the 9th. And then they blew it again. I think in the 10th. I think they blew it twice in that game, if I recall correctly.
It's been a common theme for that bullpen since Hader left. Although it's hard to imagine that Hader would be the answer.
Even today, they won 9-7, but they was 9-5 going in the 9th.
They were up. I think they were up 7-0 at one point too, and it just slipped fast.
It wasn't 7-0 because Lauer wasn't very good today. He got the win, but
I must have been thinking of a different game that was a big number early. Then
it was 7.
I was thinking of Detroit and Texas was 8-0 and it finished 9-8. That's right.
Yeah. Gregory Soto had a meltdown today, among others.
Yeah, that non-save situation never plays out very well, does it?
No, it does not.
So let's jump into week 22 of the baseball season. Not as big a week on the schedule as we've had recently. Only 4 teams with 7 games this week, Jeff. We got Milwaukee, the Dodgers, Arizona, and Boston. The rest of the league has 6, except for Tampa Bay and Houston with 5. So if you have Rays Rays especially, because they platoon guys as much as it is 5 games, your guy might play 3 or 4. That's a really tough week for Rays players. The Astros probably need a couple days off. But the interesting thing with the Astros is they have 5 games. Verlander left early today after 3 innings with some calf tightness. With 2 games off, I would assume that they don't need to bring him back. They could skip someone. They could have Framber Valdez pitch Tuesday and Sunday. They could bring Christian Javier back in. Like you'd think that if I have Verlander, I think I'm probably benching him this week, despite the sounds like it's not that serious. I just don't think they have no reason to push him.
Yeah, because Dusty was saying they were going to go back to the 5-man and Javier was the odd man out.
Yep.
But yeah, this is that could change things a little bit there. Agreed. I'm with you. I think the conclusion's right. I mean, if you have to make your decision tomorrow, no, they're off tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you have to make that decision, it sucks that you don't have your ace going this particular week.
And your ace, who's actually pitched like an ace too, he's been awesome on here. Probably the leader for the AL Cy Young right now. But it's just so easy because they just have Framber pitch on regular rest on Sunday without a problem. So they could keep Javier there if they wanted to, or bring him back. So I think Verlander's a sit, even though at the Angels is a start you really want him to make. So maybe you listen for some news tomorrow, maybe pregame on Tuesday if you have an option that on Tuesday you can swap in for him. But I'm leaning towards a sit at the moment. Yeah,
I am too. Yeah, the problem though is who are you going to pick up? I mean,
it is. We're going to get there, but it is slim pickings on pitching right now. It is. Good luck.
I think that one of the key points to the online team that's doing the online main that's doing well is I'm not digging for starting pitching. We got a comfortable lead in the league in wins. I'm all about trying to find saves right now, which that's its own private hell. But and we kind of failed this weekend, and we'll get to that too. But I'll tell you what, not having to use cringy 2-start starters and hope you don't get gombered. I mean it's liberating. We'll just say that.
It's really funny you say that. I have picked up 1 starting pitcher in my online main since July 10th.
Yeah.
So same thing. I just haven't needed starters, and it's been very, very liberating. I've been, lucky with health, obviously, but obviously got some really good picks in there too. But it's not having to dive for these 2-star pitchers or any, somebody with a good matchup this year has been a godsend because it's been really hard since the, since maybe the first month of the season when the ball was dead and it was cold and everybody's pitching well. The last 3 or 4 months, it has been you're just trying to avoid huge grenades every time you pick somebody up.
I'm trying to find the last time we picked up a starting pitcher. This is crazy.
I picked up JP Sears for the 2-step a couple weeks ago just because I had a drop. I don't want to talk about who the drop was because somebody just asked about him in the chat. But
yeah.
No, I actually didn't have a drop. I thought I had a drop. But then the last starting pitcher I made before that was July 10th. I picked up Reed Detmers.
I can top that. The last starting pitcher we picked up on the online main, June 5th.
Holy crap, that's insane.
Ross Stripling.
That's a combo of really good pitching, but some really good health in there too.
Yeah, it is.
That's awesome. I mean, and not only good picks, but good depth too.
Yeah. I thought that it was a while ago. I didn't realize it was.
I was gonna say I did not think you topped mine. You topped mine by a month. That's pretty good.
Yeah. And the thing is, Stripling worked out. We've since cut him, and I've regretted it at times. But then again, I watch outings like he had today, and I'm like, yeah, okay. He's fine. If you're looking among the direct that you're trying to pick up right now, he's actually probably a shining jewel.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, he should be rostered for sure. To answer the question in the chat, I do like Kyle Finnegan. I dropped him after he pitched 4 times in the 7th inning, but it just didn't work out. But it was a bad drop. But I do like he's pitching really well, and I actually liked him when I had him. 3.18, 1.14 WHIP. I think his ERA went down a little bit today. He got another save. He got a save and a win this week. 3 saves last week. He's clearly back to being their guy after the weird blip of him pitching in the 7th inning. But I think he's very very rosterable right now and has a pretty good grip on the job.
Yeah. For sure. And that's when they win, they have saves.
Yeah, they ain't winning many games 8-0.
No.
Some good offensive schedules this week before we get into FAAB. I really like Milwaukee this week. They have 3 home against Pittsburgh and 4 at Arizona. You got to look at some handedness there because they do some platoon some guys. But I like their offense this week. If you look at the start of the week, they're facing Pittsburgh and they get 3 righties. So I really like Rowdy Tellez this week. If you happen to be in a shallower league where maybe he's available, a good pickup this week. I like their schedule. The Cardinals too. 3 at Cincinnati, 3 Chicago. That's a lot of pitchers you want to face right there.
Yeah, it is. And we saw the Reds get knocked around by not get knocked around, but get beat today by Patrick Corbin.
Are they really throwing Chase Anderson tomorrow, Jeff? That's who C. Anderson is, right? Oh boy.
It is Chase Anderson, and that's not really that bad compared to some of the other guys they've been rolling out here. But you know what? That's fine though. I mean, it's one of those things where you did the darn thing with Castillo and Malley. That's the consequence here.
Right.
Hunter Green's hurt. You're not going to rush him back. Ashcraft's hurt now too. That's the other thing. The Reds are bad. They've also been very unlucky injury-wise too.
Chase Anderson in AAA with the Tigers this year, 4.63, 1.39. So I'm going to argue that might be worse than you think.
No, it's pretty. I'm just saying it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's very true. Yeah, it doesn't. You're just trying to get someone to go out there and eat some innings, but
exactly.
Yeah, that's you gotta like the Cardinals offense this week. They had a late game today, but I think that going to Cincy and 3 Chicago is really nice. The Braves, who just finished their Senate game too, they have 3 Colorado and 3 Miami. That's a nice setup too. Although they do face Alcantara on Friday, which will be tough. And they face Garrett Cooper, who got lit up today. But I tell you what, Jeff, that Alcantara game, I think it was yesterday against the Dodgers. That was
Cy Young winning award game.
I'm not a Dodgers fan or a Marlins fan. That 9th inning, I was just wrapped into that game. The Dodgers loaded the bases. Mattingly's like, you know what, Sandy, this is your game. Go finish it, which I loved. And he left him out there, and he got the last out. Nice play by Lewin Diaz at first base too to end the game. But
making up for the Olay job he did earlier in the inning. There.
But that was just fun. That was great baseball and that's what I love about baseball because I don't care about either teams. I don't have Alcantara in fantasy, so I wasn't rooting for that. It was just a great game. There's no way I was stepping away from that.
Yeah. That was fantastic. That was
especially after they smoked him. They smoked him in the start before too. So it was good to see the bounce back.
Exactly. And so I've been doing segments on VSiN every Monday. Mike Palm and Amal Shah, really good guys and really good show. But every week, almost seemingly every week, we've been talking about this NL Cy Young race. And one of the comments is like that Mike noticed. Mike Palm is a really sharp guy. He's like, both Sandy and Corbin Burns had home and away starts against the Dodgers. And it's an interesting chance to compare and contrast because Sandy last Sunday got knocked around pretty good.
Smoked. Yeah, they hit him hard.
Yeah, but then Burns got just crushed this week.
Was Burns Burns face him next week, or was that his second start against them?
No, that was the second one. They faced him earlier, and he was just mediocre in that one.
Yeah.
But Sandy had the only good start among the 4 of those starts. Yeah. So
he's
big. Now Gonsolin faces the Marlins as a weird wraparound game tomorrow. They played the Peacock game today. I'm thinking, oh yeah, that makes sense. And then go west after that early getaway. No, they play again tomorrow. Like
that is That is weird. I thought that I didn't. I knew Gonsolin was facing Miami. Just didn't pop in my head that was a wrap. That's a weird setup. Why would you play 9:30 in the morning or whatever it is for us, and then you have a wraparound? That's very strange.
8:30 in the morning.
8:30 in the morning. That's right. Yeah,
it's even worse. And they're not playing a day game tomorrow. It's at 6:40 Eastern time. Like,
I guess the Dodgers are in New York anyway, but boy, that's terrible. You got to give them a day game tomorrow.
Yeah, it makes no sense. I
thought they played it. They're gonna have like 28 hours between games. Then that's
dumb. I mean, okay, you get to party in South Beach tonight, which I'm sure some of them might be taking advantage of. But
if I have any choice, Mookie stays home, orders some room service, stays in the room, just hangs out. We're good because he is freaking out. I wish Mookie could just play in Miami all season long because he's I think he had 4 home runs this weekend, and he led off the last 2 games of the home runs. He's been awesome.
So check this out. Friday, I was listening to I was driving home from the airport Saturday and listening to the game, and the Marlins broadcast was all over this. They love Mookie. He set a record Friday night. 3 times he had a go-ahead hit in the 7th inning or later. That's so good.
It's the first time in baseball history. I read the stat. Granted, it's hard because the other team has to catch up again. You got to get ahead again, and then all that. But yeah, a home run in the 7th, home run in the 9th, and then an extra base hit in the 10th when they had the ghost runner on, right? Something like that.
Yeah,
I think that's what it was. It was awesome.
Yeah.
He's there's nobody on the A's for me to root for. So Mookie Betts is officially my favorite player at the moment.
Sure, why not? I mean,
I loved him anyway, and now there's literally nobody to root for. Nelly Cruz is my favorite player. Is kind of getting towards the end here, and I love Mookie.
Yeah, I feel that way about Trout too. I always root for Trout, even if it's not on my watch. I still root for him. I love him. Trout and Mookie both.
And it obviously helps that they're local and they're on TV in prime time for us all the time. Yeah. So it helps that it's fun that way.
One thing about being fans of our A's and our Reds is it's liberating this time of year. I can just full on root for my fantasy teams at the expense of my real life team. It's fine. You know what? Reds lose another game, higher draft pick. Fine. It's all good.
I mean, unless you're facing Stephen Vogt with 2 outs in the 9th, you got to pitch around him at that point.
Well, clearly,
that's just too good right there.
Unless you're facing Adam Oller and
Adam Oller with the one hitter.
Yeah,
Adrian Martinez today with the shutout.
What a terrible weekend for the Yankees. I mean,
they beat him they smoked the A's on Thursday. They won a close game Friday. I'm like, all right, we're going to win all 4 of these, and
they needed to.
Yeah, they needed to. And the A's split the series, and Adam Oller 8 innings of 1 hit ball. I think it was a record for some of the Yankees have ever had an extra inning game where they only had 1 hit.
Yeah, it was. Like, it went 11 innings in that game.
11 innings, the 1 hit is crazy.
And then losing how they did too. I mean, Smoking Lou Trevino gets the loss because of the air.
I love they challenged the slide at second. They replayed it. Murphy didn't even touch LeMahieu. He just literally made an awful throw.
Yeah, so fun.
It broke my heart. Yeah, for sure. But Red Sox have a good week this week too. 3 Minnesota, 4 at Texas. If you have any Red Sox that are kind of fringy guys, maybe Kike Hernandez. Good week for him there. White Sox, nice too. Who knows who's going to be playing for the White Sox? But 3 Kansas City. Interesting enough, they faced 3 straight lefties for Kansas City this week too. So like AJ Pollock. I guess they faced 2 out of 3. Singer's righty, then Bubich and Lynch. So you get 2 lefties. So maybe AJ Pollock, who is frustrating because every time I bench him, he homers. Every time I don't, he goes over 4. But he might be interesting at least the start of the week if you need an outfielder. But yeah. Let's jump into FAAB. That's what we're here to talk about, some free agency. But first, a note from our sponsor, the Blue Wire Network. Thank you for indulging us there. And thanks to Blue Wire. Jeff, let's start at the top with hitters and FAAB. Let's just talk about Corbin Carroll now. I know, we talk a lot of NFBC. He was not available in those leagues because, he had not been activated. He's going to be activated tomorrow. But this is a, seems like consensus top 3 prospect for everybody across the board. I see him number 1 in some lists, number 2, 3. But Corbin Carroll has played in AA and AAA this year, 23 home runs, 31 stolen bases. I'm going to do the math, combining the 2, hit a little bit over 300 so far in the year. So we're talking, production all across the board. Do you think this is a crazy bidding next week? Obviously, if you're in any kind of league, you pick him up now, you do so. You and I talked about him last week, and you picked him up as we were on the podcast. So I clearly should not have said anything at that point. But
and especially because I was trying to remember if it was with you or with
it was Fred, with me. But, it was last Sunday night. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I told you I was going to do that too, and you said go ahead. So
you were already on the site. Like, even if I said don't do it, you were going to beat me anyway. But
true, there's no honor among thieves. So
there's no honor. No, you'd say that's fair game. I assume they're calling him up to play every day. Like, how big are you on this as like potentially being a difference maker the last 5 weeks?
I mean, the numbers are there, right?
Yeah.
Reno is a launching pad
for sure.
nonetheless, what I like about it is the walks are there. It's not like he's Jared Kellenicking it all over the place here.
Right.
And I know that's not a verb, but I will.
It might be one of these days because it works really well.
Yeah, it's just I love the plate discipline. He might struggle initially. He might be like Vinny Pasquantino, where it's a little bit of a struggle early on. Give it a couple weeks, and he could be on a tear for the last 2 weeks of the season, and it would be worth it. I think if you have a wallet to empty it. Go after it.
Yeah, there's nothing else to save it for at this point. Last week we had Dustin May. We talked about if you need pitching, do it now. If you need offense, it's time to do it. I looked at my online main where I do need offense. I have like low hundreds left. I was like, that's pretty good. Maybe I'll have a chance. There's 3 teams that have over $400 left. So if they're active, they can get them. If not, I will.
If's doing a lot of work there, though.
Yeah, big time for sure. Although maybe this prospect wakes them up. I don't know. I'm hoping they stay a slumber, but I will have an aggressive bid. I'll be going pretty low to try and get him next week myself.
Right. Well, kind of like Vegas main for us. There was one guy that was in 14th place and hadn't spent a whole lot of money all year, and decided to go. He decided there was 1 week when there was I forget which high level prospect it was, but he set like the main event. Right. Of all across the main events high on the player. I'll tell you who it is in a sec, but
yeah, you might as well get the guy and then you empty the money so you don't have to worry about checking in and doing FAAB anymore, right?
Right. Vaughn Grissom. Yeah, he goes 331 to 113.
That's right. I do remember that. Yeah.
Vaughn Grissom was worth it, by the way.
Yeah, the Braves, like you call up Grissom and Harris from AA, and they're both really good. Like they're just really good.
Yeah, exactly.
So other stuff in FAAB this week. It did not seem like a huge week. What were you guys looking at in terms of offense? Or anybody that really jumped out to you? I was looking at Joey Menezes got dropped in one of my mains. He was 63% owned in 12. I do like him, hitting the middle lineup for the Nationals. Harold Ramirez has been really good all year long. He got hurt, and then so he's only 43% rostered in the 12-teamer. So he's available there. These guys hitting like 330. Garrett Cooper came off the IL for the Marlins and hit in the middle lineup. They dropped, they DFA'd Jesus Aguilar. So Cooper's going to play every day. Do you like any of those guys or somebody else you were looking at? What were you kind of looking at on offense this week?
All right. So we did have some offensive bids. Ben Gamel, 6 games against right-handers this week, dropping Nick Senzel.
Like that.
Easy switch there. And then we had Gamel in the other league already. Mark Matthias, I don't know, for the Rangers. Came over in the trade with I want to say Blue Jays, maybe. He's playing a lot for the Rangers right now. I will tell you, in fact, I'm annoyed at myself that I don't know the answer to that.
He was drafted by the Guardians, if that helps you.
It was a trade deadline acquisition for them.
Okay.
Should be pretty obvious here, but anyhow, he is playing a lot. Getting a lot of time in left field. Even didn't start today, but he was who was he? Who was the trade he came? It's bugging me now.
It was Matt Bush with the Brewers.
That's it. The Brewers. That's it. Yeah. I knew he was a trade deadline guy, but at any rate, he's playing. He's getting a little bit of run, so why not? Let's throw a buck at him.
And that's a good point because playing time is legit king right now. Like you want guys that are playing every day. Matthias had a little bit of speed in the minors, so if he needs a little stolen bases, that works well. He's hitting 5 for an average. I mean, you're just looking for someone that's hot right now. He's got a 52% hard hit rate, so he's hitting the ball well. He's seeing it well right now. Robbie
Grossman's been available in some leagues, and we missed out on him in the main, but I got him in a couple other places. He's maybe somewhat. He's this year's Eddie Rosario. I feel like he's kind of. We forget that he was a 2020 guy last year. And,
I remembered. I picked him up like 3 times this year. So I remembered every time, and then I dropped him back. But
he's actually been a little warmer lately.
Yeah, he was warm this week. He's hitting 9th, which I don't love, but at least it's a really good lineup. You can get some other lineups where hitting 6th is really bad. He can hit 9th in this lineup and be okay. Yeah, right. He's fine. He can switch hit, which helps. And obviously, they're not playing Marcell Ozuna. I don't know what they're doing there, but he didn't play all week. So I
dropped Ozuna. Ozuna was the drop, and unfortunately, I have him rostered in too many places. But he was a drop and everywhere.
I dropped him in. I dropped him a main event this week too, which is tough because offense is where I'm weakest. But he's not playing, and I don't really want him on my team. I don't really want him on my team anyway, so it kind of worked out nicely.
Yeah.
I like the Gamel pickup. I think that's really good. He's 6 righties a week. That's really important. You can play him pretty easily. He'll be in there every day. He's got quietly 35 runs, 39 RBIs. I think that's someone that you'll be able to use against righties when they get 3 or 4 games like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And he hits. Well, he's been hitting cleanup. I mean, that's. I know it's not a good lineup, but at least he's hitting and getting a lot of at bats in there.
He's getting more at bats because of that. Yep.
Yeah,
exactly.
That helps. Did you do anything? Any love for Joe Adele this week? Back up in our lives. It's been a roller coaster of up and down this week. He was available in a lot of the 12 teamers.
I did not say hello to him.
I got that one just.
Yeah, I know. I think you might have even made that one before, but no, I did not bid on him.
I didn't either. I liked him at the start of the year, and I just the strikeouts are just too much for me. And I'm gonna have to see it before I jump back in.
Yep, exactly.
Any love for the Yankees prospect that they call up? They have a lot of them. They call up as Waldo Cabrer. He's been playing a lot. He's playing kind of in the outfield and the infield. Played shortstop today. Had been playing right field. Made like 3 great plays out there. So he's kind of sticking for his defense a little bit, but hitting a little bit too. He's at 262. No pop yet. He had like 20 stolen bases, 21 last year in the minors. He had 10 this year. Just kind of maybe falling into a good lineup at the right time.
Yeah, I think so. He's kind of just a guy that's playing a lot right now. I don't treat him as anything more special than that. I'll throw a buck at him or two.
That's what I did. I threw $2. It's funny. I flipped through my leagues backwards. So I do my onlines to check results, then my mains. And onlines, I kind of got everybody bid on. Even my online main, I was like, got some guys. My Vegas main league is just so absurd. I got my 10th pitcher on my list. I actually had a 10 pitcher list, and I got the 10th guy. That's how it's impossible to pick it up in that league. It's a wild, fun, active league.
It is, and it's still in play. So that's the thing. Yeah. I mean,
there's like 7 teams that are like right in the mix in the middle too, for between like 2nd and 7th. Like it's really competitive, which obviously makes a huge difference. There's nobody that's really fully out of it. But I did have Cabrera there for $2, kind of way down my list. Also, I had Rice Iglesias way down my list. I just happened to get him because I had a drop there. But it's tough to get anybody in that league, and that makes it difficult.
It does. It really does. But it makes for a better league. Plus, you got everybody talking about the league. That's kind of your problem. Is when you're in the hot air league, you can't stop talking about it.
And you're not. If you're talking about it, you're not going to not make moves in it. Right. So it's just
embarrassing when you forget to make a move. I've done that sometimes with my OCs, and I feel like I didn't get a good bid on that one. Yeah, I know. So I'm trying to redouble my efforts. Just hey, there's value, there's honor in going from 6th to 5th and 5th to 4th, even if you're not going to make any money. There's some value.
I agree. Anybody in the catcher market you like right now? I was kind of looking for that. I was kind of cycling.
It was last week. It was Langeliers. That was the guy.
It was. I got outbid on Langeliers. I picked up Christian Bethancourt in one main event this week. He got dropped. He had a couple home runs this week. He doesn't play a ton because the Rays moving out, plays like half the games, but he's got really good contact numbers when he does play. And, if you're talking about, I think I dropped Jacob Stallings, which wasn't working. So I just,
Jacob Stallings has been on fire lately.
Yeah.
But the last month he's been the Marlins' hottest hitter. That's, I didn't realize it until I listened to this you listen to the local teams. You talk about this like, oh, what are you talking about? Oh, he's had like a 940 OPS over the last 30 days. Really? You just don't expect it. It's all like batting average.
He just never plays. He plays like 3 games a week, and it just makes it really, really tough.
And the other catcher there hits some homers here and there too.
Yeah, so. Nick Fortes. But yeah, like in August, he hit 294, but he had 1 home run and 3 runs scored. Like it's tough to the batting average plays a little bit, but it's tough. Someone asked in the chat if it's time to drop Chris Bryant. I think that time was a couple weeks ago. So I would definitely drop Chris Bryant. I don't think the Rockies have any reason to push him back. Any Luis Camposano in San Diego with Jorge Alfaro, I can't say that name, going on the IL. I know he's a former pretty big prospect.
There's this Padres malaise right now.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Every time I look at Austin Nola, I'm like, oh, that was a name a couple years, and I'm like, oh, he just does nothing.
And the thing is, Austin Nola had like a year and a half of good play. He got hurt, and he's never been the same.
Never really has. Yeah, that's a good point.
We skipped another question in the forum. What are you doing with Craig Kimbrel?
Luckily, I'm not doing anything with Craig Kimbrel, Jeff, because I don't have Craig Kimbrel anywhere. But I mean, he's on the Dodgers.
Are you speculating on Gratterall, for instance? Then
so I had Evan Phillips and Gratterall in that list. I got outbid on. So yeah, I'm speculating a little bit. But if I have Kimbrel, I think I'm still unless I'm in a spot where I have like a cushion on both sides and saves. I mean, he plays for the Dodgers and they win a lot of games. I think you probably have to keep throwing him, don't you?
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I think you do, but man, I could see benching him because there is a quote from Robert saying we're better off when he's our closer, but he's got to earn it basically. And I don't think he's had Did he pitch in that? I didn't watch
he pitched once this week. So he didn't pitch in the series they played. Whoever they played the first half of the week, was it? I don't remember who it was, but he pitched once against the Marlins. He pitched one inning on the 26th, so on Friday night.
Yeah. Bill missed the beginning of the show. He asked, do you cut Hader in a 12er? Probably, maybe. I mean, I think if you're doing okay in saves, you definitely cut him, because
it's a good question. I actually answered. I do have. I held him for one more week. I'm going to see what happens this week, because he's just so good when he's right. But I'm leaning towards him being a drop next week, and I think he probably I'll probably regret not picking up someone for him this week. I think he's so far away from saves right now that it's, with 5 weeks left in the season, it's just too far away.
Because you obviously can't have him active anymore. So if you can't have him active anymore, there's an opportunity cost of not picking somebody else up.
Yep. And he has no chance to get wins or saves. He's not going to pitch anywhere near a high leverage spot right now. So, even if he's not closing, some of these guys pitch a 7th and 8th and can score a winner, but the problem is he's giving up runs every time too. It's just, you can't put him anywhere near your lineup. So he's a bench or a cut for sure.
I agree.
Let's jump into the starting and relieving pitcher market in FAAB this week. But first, a note from our sponsors at Caesars. The weather is heating up, and so are the promotions at Caesars Sportsbook. Today, anyone who's at least 21 years old in a licensed Caesars Sportsbook state can create a new account and redeem the Caesars Sportsbook promo code of ROTO15. That's ROTO15. The promo code gives new users a risk-free bet up to $1,500. Visit Caesars.com/sportsbook or download the Caesars Sportsbook app today. Don't forget to use promo code ROTO15 when you do your signing up. So, Jeff, the starting pitching market was a little bit interesting this week. There was not a lot of pickup, but Trevor Rogers and Jack Flaherty were both out there, and at least a lot of the 12-teamers. He's actually available in one of my 15-teamers, too. Which guy would you pick up first, and why, if you could pick between the two right now?
Flaherty.
Yeah, it's pretty easily Flaherty for me, too. I still have Rogers in the league, but I think, Flaherty's shown well in his rehab out. He's had a pretty good one 2 weeks ago. He's actually not going to pitch this week. They announced today that he's going to make one more rehab start, his 5th on Wednesday. So he's going to come back to pitch on Monday, September 5th. So it'll be a 2-start week out the gate. So if you pick him up, you're going to have to throw that. Rogers finally pitched well earlier this week. He had pitched 6 innings, a shutout ball, 12 strikeouts. It's a minor league rehab outing. He was terrible the one before, so I guess it's better that he pitched well.
Right.
So if you have been a 15-teamer, not that I'm asking for anybody in particular, do you pitch him this Tuesday against home against the Rays? And don't say it depends on your options, because I know that's the real answer. But are you considering him strongly, or is he an automatic? I'm not using him until I see a start.
Yeah, I'm thinking about this one.
I'm leaning towards using him, but I haven't decided yet.
Yeah, leaning towards. How did he went? I mean, he struck out 12.
Yeah, he pitched really well. He gave up 5 or 6 runs in 2 innings the rehab started before. I'm like, all right, it's time to drop him. I couldn't drop him last week. I got outbid, so I kept him, and then he struck out 12 this week. So now I'm stuck with him again.
Right.
It's just, it's going to happen. I'm just going to get whipsawed big time, and I'm going to drop him next week. And the problem is he got 2 starts the week after, so I'm going to be like, well, I got to keep him for that. So I'm stuck with the dude forever. It's just we're just living together. It's just there's no way out.
Yeah. Kevin Costner is Scott Jenstad.
I like it. Any Kevin Costner reference.
There's a movie reference we haven't used in a long time, by the way. Yeah. No Way Out.
I would have gone Steven Seagal for No Way Out. Is that which one's that?
Kevin, it's a No Way Out is like a 80s spy movie.
Yeah, isn't there a Steven Seagal movie that's kind of close to that?
There is, but this one's definitely Kevin Costner. It's Gene Hackman's in it. Sean Young is the female lead.
Oh, that's a throwback right there.
Yeah, Fred Thompson, 1987. There's a 2022 version that's based out of LA, but I don't know if that's related or anywhere or not. But I'm not sure which Seagal classic that you're referring to.
I might have been thinking of Out for Justice or Marked for Death. There was all those something for something.
Often confused with each other, yes.
Hard to Kill. I don't know. Yeah. They're all the same. I'm old, Jeff. I forget stuff pretty fast.
Yeah, you're not as old as me, though.
Someone is asking who's out of the Cardinals. Bill Northrup is asking who's out of the Cardinals rotation when Flaherty returns.
Good question. Let's take a look. I mean, it's not Quintana or Montgomery.
I think Dakota Hudson, right?
Yeah, I think so too. Or they could go 6-man, right?
They could and kind of make but I assume that Wainwright would want to be on regular rest, but maybe that'd be good for Flaherty. But I would think Dakota Hudson goes to the bullpen.
Yeah. Our projected starters grid suggests the same.
Oh, there you go. I like when I agree with them.
Yeah.
Other pitchers here. Brian Baio. We talked about him. Probably a month and a half ago when the Red Sox called him up. Didn't go well. Got called back up and pitched really well this week. He had been good in the minors, so we were kind of interested last time, and it didn't go well. Pitched really well this week against Toronto too. 5 innings, 2 earned runs, 6 hits, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, which is the number you're really looking at if you're picking up a 2-star pitcher. You want to at least get those strikeouts. He faces. He's at Minnesota this week and home against Texas. How interested are you or not in Brian Baio this week?
I am a little interested.
Me too.
I think he's a classic example of a rookie that got the call up and struggled initially, and the second time through, it starts to get it. He's healthier. Maybe he was trying to pitch well a little less than healthy before. I'm in on him.
34% strikeout rate in both AA and AAA this year. I mean, so if nothing else, with 2 starts, you should get some strikeouts as long as he can kind of stay out there long enough to get them. Those are really valuable. If you get double-digit strikeouts from somebody, that's worth a pickup. Assuming he doesn't get completely exploded.
Exactly.
Yeah. I was trying to pick up some of those kids from the Hawaii Little League team, but none of them are available on the website.
You've got ESPN on too while we're talking, aren't we?
That team is unbelievable. They take swings like they're 23. It's crazy.
Yeah. They scored 60 runs in the Little League World Series.
There's the kid that plays shortstop and pitches and throws no hitters. He had a ball in the regional like 350 or something to left field, and it legit looked like a major league hitter taking a swing. It was crazy. And he's 12. It's wild. Yeah,
there's some big kids on that team.
It was pretty good. The Tennessee team on yesterday in the U.S. Championship, they brought out this pitcher, and they just had him throw like sidearm and junk, and it was the only thing that stopped these kids, the Hawaii team, from scoring like 15 runs. They had a 4-inning mercy at the end of the day, but it was interesting to see just the junk and sidearm they hadn't seen. They weren't used to it. They only gave it 5 runs, but it was on there. Matt Manning in Detroit has another guy, a rookie who is highly touted, struggled, has been really good in his last since he's come up about 4 starts ago. He's had 4, I think it's actually 5 pretty good starts, 1 bad start against the White Sox, but last 2 starts, 6 innings, 8 strikeouts against the Giants, 7 innings, 1 earned run, 6 strikeouts against the Angels. Been pitching really well. 2 starts this week also, home against Seattle, home against Kansas City. Pretty good setup on paper. He was only 21% rostered in 12-teamers. Where he was available, he was my top pitching target in the 12-teamers. And that's kind of from someone who was not interested in him earlier this year.
Yeah, I mean, he was uniformly awful until this time. But again, you go back to the pedigree theory. I mean, it's just longer gestation period. But
yeah, no, he's been really good. Maybe just figured something out, and that does happen. So if he's available in your league, that's someone that I would definitely go after. Did you do anything with the youngster in Washington, Cade Cavalli, who throws hard, can strike guys out? Struggled in his first outing, but the guy, 26% strikeout rate in the minors, pretty good numbers there, pretty big prospect. Did you do anything with him, knowing that he faces the A's this weekend, which is never a bad thing?
He couldn't do well against the Reds, which isn't a bad thing. So. No. I know the pedigree's there. I think he's farther away.
Okay, that's fair. Your point is good on the guys that kind of can come up and struggle and then go back down and come back up. This is his first coming up, so maybe it'll be a several starts. I don't think it's an awful. If you want to stream it against the A's, maybe you get some strikeouts, but I think the Reds' offense is better than the A's' offense, to be honest with you. Which is
I think it is too.
Frightening,
but
true.
That's not. It is, but only by a certain amount of by half.
Our next name on the list might disagree though. Clark Schmidt with the Yankees actually got hit by the A's today. He did not pitch well. Gave up 8 hits. He had 7 strikeouts though. This is another guy, 33% strikeout rate in AAA this year, coming up and in the rotation at the moment. He's facing I think Tampa Bay this week, if I got the math right. Yes, he's at Tampa Bay on Saturday. Any Clark Schmidt interest this week?
A little bit. I know he was pitching pretty well earlier, but he would pitch well and then get sent down. It was like a kind of a Yankee thing to do. But yeah, a little bit of interest.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they need an arm right now, and they seem like they're trying to stretch him out. He didn't pitch well today, but it was a good sign. He did throw 4 1/3. They let him face 20 hitters, so that's enough. Where if he pitches well, he could kind of find himself getting a win. Obviously, on an offense that you'd think would score some runs, hasn't scored any runs for about a month, but you'd think would be some good runs there. Any interest in the Baltimore guys who are streamable against the A's this week? Dean Kramer and Austin Voth both have 1 steps against the A's this week.
Yeah, kind of interested in Bradish too. Where available.
I think we talked about Bradish maybe last week, but I
Yep.
really like him. He's pitching really well right now.
He
Another
is.
guy that, kind of on your point again, someone that came up, we liked him, and then he struggled, went back down. He's come back up. He's been really good. He pitched at Houston this week, was exceptionally good. He was 8 innings, 2 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, no runs. He's getting up 3 runs or fewer now in 6 straight outings. I think he's arrived.
Yeah. Only thing about Bradish that I don't like is the opponent. It's at Cleveland and against Bieber.
That's and Bieber's been weirdly good. He had that little hiccup in the middle where he was throwing really, throwing low 90s, and now it's been really good in August. My only thing with Bradish is just always it's hard to find matchups because in the AL East, it's just hard to find guys to pitch against. I looked at it. He gets Cleveland, then next week he gets Toronto, and you're just like, well,
exactly.
It's hard to pick him up because
however, it is in Camden Yards, so and Baltimore, as I've seen now.
Oh, that's not great.
Oh, it's not bad. I kind of like it.
It's funny because every time I look up at a game, even on the Grid channel, I know what stadium it's in, and every time I see a ball in Baltimore, it doesn't compute that it's in Baltimore every time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very good. Jeff, someone's asking you a question in the chat. Are Cole Irvin and Andrew Heaney worthwhile for 2 starts this week?
Heaney is. Absolutely.
It's disrespectful to the legend of Cole Irvin. I'd pitch Cole Irvin too, by the way. At Washington, at Baltimore, coming off 11 strikeout outing. I'd pitch both of them.
Yeah. Here's the negative on Heaney, though. It's only 1 step this week.
Yeah, because they are going to the
Mets.
Yeah, I wouldn't throw Heaney now that I know that they're actually putting Kershaw back in. They're going to a 6-man, which is not great for fantasy, by the way, because I have Dustin May and Gonsolin. There's going to be not very many 2 steps the rest of the way. It sounds like Robert said they're going to go to 6-man for at least the next couple of weeks, at least. So I think they might do it the rest of the way.
You might go like 10-man in the last 2 weeks of the season, too, because honestly, they're just on cruise control. They're so good.
Killing people. They are so good. It's the crazy thing about baseball, right? Like they're so far and away the best team, but you put them in a playoff series, and in the playoffs, what are they, like 15% to make it to the World Series, to win the World Series, something like that, even the best team. It's just it's so baseball series and short series are so hard. People are like, oh, they weren't that good. They choked. Like this team is amazing. It's just who knows what happens in the playoffs, but they're so good.
Right. We're talking, there's magic numbers regarded around them, and we're not even in September yet.
Were they like 43-9 the last 52 or something? It's something in there. I forget. They lost to Sandy.
50 games over 500 right now. 50.
That's just stupid. Yeah, they lost to Sandy that day, so it's 10. So it's like I think they're 43-10 the last 50 because they were 41-9 before the series started, which is truly absurd baseball, and like it's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeff, do you like Rafael Montero or Kyle Finnegan more? I like Kyle Finnegan more just because the last I read on Ryan Presley, it was barely like going to go on the IL. I think he's actually be back at the end of next week. So I'd go Finnegan because I think Montero's only got about a week left in the job.
Yeah. And he might not get every one of them. He labored today.
Boys, he's sketchy too. So I just think Finnegan has way higher chance to go the rest of the way. Like Presley would have to have some sort of setback for Montero to keep the job.
Yeah.
Because Presley's just really good.
Yeah. By the way, so we were talking FAAB, and we're talking about FAAB results. I forgot to mention, though. So main event where we need the closer, we didn't get our targets.
So that's I was going to closers next, so I wanted to talk about that. Who were your targets? Who did you get?
So targets were Nick Martinez and Hughes, and got outbid on both of those guys. We only had like $24 in FAABs to be
Brendan Hughes.
Brandon Hughes on the Cubs.
Okay. Gotcha.
Nick Martinez. We got outbid 12-7 and 7-5 respectively. And even if we had bid the 7, we wouldn't have got them because we're in first in the league. So we would have lost the tiebreaker. So instead, we got a speculation. Sir Anthony Dominguez, welcome back.
Oh, no.
On the speculation that it's only a week or 2 out.
Okay.
And then he gets the job because there is some positive buzz on him. There's a note yesterday, and I think the Inquirer saying that it could be almost a minimum trip for him. And if that's the case, maybe he figures in the saves again.
So you guys dropped him last week then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rallied.
How much you pick him back up for?
$1.
Oh, well, that's nice. You got the roster spot and you spent $1 on it. That's pretty good.
Yeah, and dropped Josiah Gray, who's getting a rest this week anyhow. And
I think he might get rested a bunch the rest of the way too.
Yeah, they're running out of baseball. So, they kind of have to slow it down a little bit there because they're selling the team. They don't want to have the expense of all the baseballs going in the bleacher. No, he gives up a lot of homers. That's the joke here, people.
He does. And he's getting probably towards some sort of, imaginary image limit that they set at the start of the year that, maybe not a hard one, but one that they had in mind. And I think that just they have nothing to play for. We're going to see a lot of Operation Shutdown for some of those teams last month. It's one of those months where it's so hard because football's going on. You're drafting, you at games on Sunday, but man, you got to pay so close attention to this stuff. There are going to be so many guys that are going to like sit multiple games a week or have starts skipped. This last month is really about who's paying a ton of attention.
Yeah, and yeah,
and obviously we'll try and help you with doing this podcast, and we'll be on top of the stuff. But like for Sunday moves and stuff, you really got to be on top of it. It's really September is a completely different brand of baseball.
It is, and at least it's not 40-man rosters.
I love that change. I hate it when you could. I hated that when you
the Bruce Bochy game in Colorado. I mean, that just cemented it. Where they used like 13 pitchers. I mean,
I do remember that.
Yeah.
It was absurd. I like that rule change, especially for fantasy. So probably a little selfish there, but I just like the fact that it's only a few guys. It doesn't impact the lineup that much.
Yeah. Here's all the pitchers we had on our list. So Hughes, Martinez, Dominguez was our third choice.
Okay.
Gratterall, Leclerc, Schreiber, and it got a save yesterday for Boston, 4-out save, I should say. But
you did not push up my sneaky A's play then, did you?
No, he was on. I'm getting there. I didn't push him up, but he was there.
All right.
Trevino, because I still think he's still a pretty good pitcher. I know he had the loss in the extra inning game, but
not his fault. But yeah.
No, Neris and Acevedo was there on our list. Domingo Acevedo, your sneaky A's push up. I still think Puck is before Acevedo, but go ahead.
I really like the Acevedo usage this week. If you're in a deep league, I actually had him in my list, but I got Nick Martinez, so I had Acevedo second though in my list. I like that Acevedo he's pitching really well, which is most important. He's probably been the best pitcher in the bullpen the last 2 months. Danny Jimenez went on the 60-day IL, so he's gone for the year. AJ Puck is left-handed. He's pitched well most of the year. Was terrible the other night when he just couldn't find the plate and all over the place, and they gave 2 runs on a wild pitch. But Acevedo was used today in the 8th inning against the 1-2-3 in the Yankees lineup with a lead, which I love, and then used last night in a tie game in the 9th inning too, which is both kind of like high leverage, like your most trusted guy usage. So I don't think he's the closer and here we go, but I think that he's the top guy at the moment with the fact that Puck will mix in there, and they're probably co-top guys, but I think Domingo maybe has a little bit of an edge. He's right-handed, and usually the matchups might line up better for him. So if you're in a deeper league, I really like a Domingo Acevedo ad as a spec for the A's closer.
Yeah, the good news is all those players on the list, we lost out on Hughes and Martinez, bummer. We got Dominguez. Leclerc got picked up, and everybody else on that list is still available for next week. So
that's pretty good, because in mine, I told you before, I had 10 guys in my list, and I got Raisel Iglesias just because everybody got picked up in my list. So it was I didn't even know why I had 10. I had a drop, so I had Chris Bubich, and I just wanted him gone. But we
had a league where we just had to get rid of Brandon Belt, just had to.
It's been a mess. But I had Baio, Cavalli, Bailey Falter got picked up ahead of me. Nick Martinez, Marco Gonzalez got picked up. Clark Schmidt, Brandon Hughes, James Karinchak got picked up. I think that was Paul Sporer, of course it was, and Evan Phillips. 9 guys got picked up in front of me. It was pretty wild.
Amazing.
Like I said, it's a fun league, but it's there's no sneaking anybody through in that league.
No, there isn't. It's the hot air league.
It is. The only guy we didn't talk about in that, we talked about, I think Clay Holmes is the guy in New York. I think he's going to come in and close pretty much off the bat. He's going to be activated tomorrow. You guys held him, right?
We held him.
And I think
we might activate him.
I think I suggested you drop him, and that would have been a terrible call. Paul Sporer just weighed in that Karinchak's back. He's not only kind of back. Karinchak has been awesome for like a month and a half.
Yeah, but Clase is never going to lose the job.
Never going to lose the job. But like you get an injury maybe. But I mean, I think you could throw Karinchak for just his numbers and strikeouts and ratios right now. He's been utterly dominant. A lot of swag on James Karinchak too. He talks a lot of smack when he gets strikeouts. Kind of struts off the mound. He's got a lot to him right now. Yeah, he's feeling himself at the moment, which I like in a relief pitcher.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that.
The other situation is Anaheim. Jimmy Herget. I think it's Herget, by the way.
Yeah, he in one of our leagues we had in on him.
And he bids in on him. He got 2 saves in like the last 8 days or so. He's been a pretty good pitcher. The only tough thing with him is they throw him in multi-inning outings, so it's hard for him to like get multiple saves in a week, because if he gets like a 2-inning out, he sits for 2 more days. So it's hard to you don't get those back-to-back saves, and the Angels don't win a lot of games. Kind of a tough fantasy situation, because it's hard to really get him to kind of mass up the saves.
It's kind of a poor man Scott Barlow at this point.
Very poor, I'd go. Scott Barlow's got 20 saves, right?
Yeah, I know, but he just pitches a lot of 8th innings here and there. You got the the Royals did completely the right thing.
Yes,
they're annoying. Barlow came in, got a huge out, got Soto out with 2 on and 2 out in the 8th in a 9-6 game. Hader went in and did his thing, and the Royals scored 6 runs. I'm like, they've used 6 other pitchers this game. There's a chance that Barlow could still get the save. Nope. Here comes Luke Weaver to finish it out. I think they're off tomorrow.
What was the lead again?
It went from 9-6 to 15-6.
Yeah, and even at like 12-6, they probably leave him in, right?
Yeah, I mean,
at 15-6, you're like, yeah, we play. Like, you're not going to do it, but
right. It was entirely annoying because every save matters when you're thinking about an overall, let alone in your league.
You get that big out too, and you're like, oh, like this is gonna be easy now. He's got a clean slate. Then they score a couple runs. You're like, this is even easier. And then you're like, oh, stop scoring now.
I know.
I had that with Paul Sewald a couple times a week. Like the Mariners were up 3-1 and then scored 2 runs in the ninth. It's so crippling.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Hader's out there doing his thing, and it's like cue up the Rocky IV gift. Throw in the damn towel already.
Oh,
why is he still out there?
You're like, oh, Hader came in. This is gonna be an easy 1-2-3 inning. We're good.
No, there's no such thing. But yeah.
So just go quick to James Karinchak real quick. In August, he's faced 45 batters and struck out 23 of them with giving up zero runs.
That's cooking with gas.
Yeah, he is. I totally feel himself right now. He's been really good. That's if they get in the playoffs, that's a really tough 8-9 if they're pitching well, because you're losing that game. Yeah. You go Karinchak, Clase, you might not score again. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, they just couldn't score any runs against Seattle this weekend.
Yeah, and the rest of their team is like, there's a lot to be desired there. But if you get in a game where it's close, their bullpen's pretty darn good.
Yeah, well, Seattle, by the way. I mean, they got Sewald and Munoz at the back end now, and Munoz
Munoz he gave it up the other night, but he's been really good. Their bullpen is sneaky, really nasty.
Yeah, and meanwhile, at the top of the rotation now, you've got Castillo, whichever X-Red Castillo, and then Robbie Ray pitched to Jim today, and Logan Gilbert and George Kirby doesn't throw balls. Yeah,
George Kirby's awesome too. It's just that's a short series team that I hope they make it. They're fun.
They're dangerous.
Julio Rodriguez is probably one of the most fun players in the league right now. So that's a team that I'll be pulling for in the playoffs. They haven't been. I know, but they haven't been in the playoffs since the year they set the all-time wins record, which is truly an impossible. It's incredible. Yeah. That's the case.
Yeah, it is. It is, and I just love that they went for it.
Yep. I do too.
And they got they got what the Yankees should have gotten. I just wonder what price the Yankees balked at, or were they just never close? I mean, because Seattle had the prospects to deal them, they did.
Instead, the Yankees dealt away a starter who's given up 1 run in 4 outings or something like that. Jordan Montgomery's been great in St. Louis.
Yeah, one other caustic.
He actually gave up some runs this week, so I shouldn't say that, but he was really good until this week.
Yeah, I need to make one caustic Cardinals comment though.
Please
remember how all the comments were coming around that it can't include Dylan Carlson in a deal, right? He's not. He's getting sat in favor of Dickerson now. He wasn't good enough to include. I mean, he was so good that he couldn't include him in a deal, but not good enough to start every day.
I really liked him coming into last year as a prospect. When I looked at, he's not good right now. He isn't. His hard hit rate is 26%. Like he gets nothing hard. That's like I have to look at. That's probably a bottom 15 number in baseball right now.
Yeah, it is. It's really frustrating, and yet I still have him in all these leagues. That's the scary thing.
Paul Sporer weighing in. How much are you bidding on Adam Wainwright's new country song they played during the Pedalcast tonight?
Hey,
it was not as horrible as I thought it was going to be when it started. How about that?
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, when I started doing it, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be completely cringeworthy. It was not horrible, so I'm gonna go with not horrible. And
I can't carry a tune, so I'm not gonna say anything.
Nor am I. I'm a country music fan, so I like that kind of music normally. But it was. I'm just gonna stick with not terrible. I'll go with that. But it was pretty funny that they went with that. Let's go with a few quick news and notes before we jump out of here. Ronald Acuna, we talked about him about 4,000 times this year. Missed. I think I put missed the weekend notes, but I think he played yesterday. Missed today. Expect to be back on Tuesday. It seemed like when they were talking to Snitker in the dugout, it's just going to be it's just a managing thing. He's just kind of feels sore sometimes. Going to miss games here and there. It doesn't sound like there's any setbacks, but I think you just have to accept that he's going to miss, maybe a game a week or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's right.
You mentioned Yordan Alvarez earlier. He sat Sunday with left hand soreness. I guess the only good news here is it's the other hand that it was earlier around the All-Star break when he was in the IL. But boy, it seems like he's got a lot going on. He's not hitting really well right now too. No,
he isn't. I don't know. I mean, I think it's one of those where, we're going to find out later. It was way worse than they let on.
Yeah, it's and the Astros have no reason to push him. They've won the West. Nobody's catching them there. You wonder if for their benefit, it might be worth just sitting him for a couple weeks and just figuring that out, because he's not helping them right now. He's not helping himself, and if he's banged up, they're going to need him in October to win.
Yep, that's right.
We already talked about Justin Verlander. We talked about Yohan Moncada to the IL with a left hamstring strain. Trevor Story is back, Jeff. I think sooner than we thought originally. I think we thought it was maybe on the verge of being a drop when he first got hurt. He returned on Saturday. The one note I noticed in here was that kind of interesting that they really want to play Christian Arroyo, and it sounds like he's going to play a lot of first base, was the quote from Alex Cora. So Story will play second, Arroyo will play first. It means a lot less playing time for probably Franchi and for Bobby Dalbec. But it sounds like if you have Christian Arroyo in a deeper league, with his triple eligibility, I think he's going to try and keep his bat in the lineup as long as they can, just because he's been hitting so well for them.
Yeah, and don't forget the ghost of Eric Hosmer on the IL now too.
Yeah, can he just hang out there for a while and not?
I think that's their intent. But all this is, and then this gives them cover to not call up Tristan Casas this year. That's just probably not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't know if I hadn't heard anything about September if they're going to do that, but I mean, Arroyo's hitting 333 in August, 367 since the All-Star break. Like, I think you got to keep that batting until he cools down, right?
Yeah.
That's the hope, because I have him in my league, and I actually was going to drop him, and then I read that note, and I decided to keep him.
Still trying to figure out what they're doing as a team. Yeah.
I'm not sure they really know at the moment either, but yeah, it's a bit confusing. Let's see. Aroldis Chapman, we mentioned the tattoo IL. Clay Holmes is coming back, could be activated Monday. Clayton Kershaw, we kind of hit on a little bit. We were talking about the Dodgers with Andrew Heaney. Could be back this week, and the Dodgers are going 6-man for a couple of weeks, so probably not many two-steps. Tony Gonsolin has one this week. Might not be any more of those for a while, but it sounds like if you have Kershaw, Jeff, would you throw Kershaw this week if you have him? It's at the Mets, so it ain't a soft landing spot.
No, I don't think so, because he didn't go on a rehab assignment. He was just doing simulated games. I don't think he goes the full 5.
That's probably a really good point. If he's going to go 3 or 4 against the Mets, you probably don't want that anyway. So I think it's a good point. Probably wait a week and then throw him next week against the Giants.
Yeah.
Jack Flaherty, we mentioned not pitching this week. We're back with a 2-step on February 5th. Eli Jimenez, we talked about earlier, also another guy that just can't stay in the lineup. I know you guys have him. Are you just looking at lineups to start of the week and play him if he's in instead of if he's out? How are you handling Eloy right now?
So we picked up Matthias. We were trying to get another outfielder that we got outbid on, and we were trying to go, I think I'll tell you who we were going on, but the whole notion was we wanted to find an outfield eligible guy that didn't play on Monday, because the White Sox are also off on Monday.
That's really some forward thinking right there. I like the way you guys, I mean, you can tell you guys are in the mix when you're starting to think that way. I like it.
Robbie Grossman, Gavin Sheets also was on after Matthias. If we didn't get Matthias, it was Robbie Grossman was our top choice.
Did you have any of those Tigers players there? Because I kind of like the Victor Reyes, Willie Castro combo as guys you can kind of throw.
We did not have those guys in there, but it's
I sort of like Victor Reyes right now. He's warm right now and playing a lot.
Yeah. Those are guys we're thinking of. The thing is, on our bench right now we have Gamble, so Gamble's going to go in there. Trent Grisham, who was like 1 for his last 80 or whatever, is still on our bench.
I think he's a full draw. He had 9 at-bats this week.
He's so bad. He's just so and he's like bunting with 2 strikes. He's had like 8 strikeouts where he's bunted with 2 strikes this year.
It feels
it's
like
the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
It feels like he's that guy. He has 8 with 2 strikes. That is pretty dumb.
Something I might be exaggerating to make my point, but I know it happened again. It was not the first time.
And enough you've noticed it, which means it was at least a few times. He feels like he's one of those guys you want to drop, and then he does something on a Sunday, and you keep him for another week, and then you get to September or something. He's still in your roster. He was available in one of my mains. I looked closer. I didn't even bid on him. He's been so bad. He's
got the 15 homers, so you're just like, okay, I can squint, I can still see it.
Is he hitting under 200? He must be, right?
He's hitting 193, and he's got a 357 slug. He's got only 5 stolen bases too. I guess when you're not on base, you can't run.
Yeah. And you hit 9th, and it's just tough to find spots.
I really thought he was going to be a really good player in San Diego. I really did, and he looked the part. Like in the COVID year, especially, he looked the part.
That 2020 hit the ball hard. He had 10 home runs, 10 steals in 60 games, 42% hard hit rate. Like, he looked like he was taking that step up, and it's been 2 steps back the last 2 years. It's been really rough.
Yeah. And Spore said he Sundaed me.
Yeah, there you go. I tell you, he felt like the guy that he hits that home run Sunday, I got to keep him. I can see see the light now. And then, Paul, I didn't bid on him this week. So that's what I thought about that. So I obviously thought it was a good drop, but
by the way, Paul's joining me on Thursday for the RotoWire baseball podcast. We're going to do a Thursday morning podcast. So looking forward to having Paul on. It'll be great.
I don't want to embarrass Paul too much, but I love Paul.
Yeah.
Just a fantastic human.
Yeah. I mean, hard to find people who don't.
Yeah, that's very true, which is hard to say for many people, and that's one of them there.
Yeah.
Jorge Polanco left early Saturday and sat Sunday with some patella tendonitis. Is another guy that you're going to have to check lineups on. Do they play on Monday? The Twins do play Monday. They're playing at home against the Red Sox. So check that lineup before you decide on Jorge Polanco also. Any other news that I'm missing here, Jeff?
No, I have a team that has like all those day-to-day guys. I have Polanco on it.
That's what I do. I just go to your lineup and I just pick guys to talk about.
It's one of my OCs. My raw stats are better in my 15s than my 12s this year. It's really ridiculous.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah. It's just like, it's just a bad team. Oh, this is just a bad team.
I have a 12 that's in third, and I just can't. It's one of those teams I just cannot get going. Every time I get like a couple of good days, it's like 5 bad days, and I just cannot get the offense going. It's one of those teams that has like JD Martinez and Tyler O'Neill, like all these guys that can't bench but haven't done anything. It's been rough. It's just that team that has all those guys that should be good that I can't take out, and I probably should have a month ago, and I just don't. It's just I'm stubborn in that way, and JD Martinez just does nothing every day, and I just still have him in there.
Polanco, Eloy, Javi Baez. Oh, there's a winning pick this
year. He missed today, by the way, I believe. So he's another guy.
No, he left today, I think.
Oh, he left today.
He was 1 for 3. He was
early,
day-to-day right? Going into Friday. He was removed, with back stiffness.
And he's obviously on a team that is long out of it. I mean, that's he could go operation shutdown someday here too.
It might as well be bat stiffness. He's been such a stiff this year, but
where does Javi Baez get drafted next year? I think it's finally at the point where like
somebody else's team.
That's a good answer. Those great years are like last year was good. 31-18, hit 265, but then hit 203 the year before. Like he just never.
He's the whipsaw. Yeah,
and it's crazy because his strikeouts are down 9% this year. Like it's way down. But everything else, his barrel rate's in half as was last year, and his hard hit rate's down 10%. Like he's a complete different player right now, and it's not a good version at all.
The word malaise comes to mind with him.
Yeah, it could be. He's swinging and missing a little bit less, but still 18.5%. So there's still a lot of swinging and missing there. But Jeff Mookie Betts is awesome. That's what I'm going to close with.
Yeah, let's go to our happy place. Let's think about players that have been good to us.
What's Mookie Betts' ADP next year? Because there's a lot of like really good, hyped young players. We're going to have Acuna. You're going to have Julio Rodriguez. Not going to have Fernando Tatis to start the year, but is Betts like a same kind of like maybe like top 6 to 10 range? You think he's top 5?
I mean,
he's this year. It's like certainly puts him there.
He's a blue chip stock.
Yeah,
team is amazing. He's amazing. Even in his bad year, he's at 115. Maybe he wasn't like the 15th best player last year, but even coming off a bad year, you're taking him 15th. Really, I mean. Where did in your online that you're doing so well? Where did you take him? What spot?
I took him 12th.
So there you go. I mean,
so pick 112 of the 15 round of the first round.
I might be a little high, but I mean, you're taking him over Judge though next year, right?
Yes. Oh, that's not an easy answer, but yes, I'm gonna. Oh boy, that's tough. Yeah, I think so. But those guys are really close. I love them both.
Yeah, I mean, I love him too. I mean, I love Judge too.
The crazy thing is, you mentioned last week, Judge has the double-digit stolen bases he's tossed in there this year. Like, makes a huge difference.
14.
Yeah.
14.
He has more than Mookie does.
This is the unicorn. He stayed healthy year though.
Yes, it is.
I take Jose Ramirez and Trey Turner. I know before any of these guys. That's the only 2 I know.
I don't want to lie to you. I took Betts 11th. I'm sorry, I was wrong off there. But
yeah,
I took him.
Deceiver.
I took him above Luis Robert, and it was a slam dunk for me. I had him above Kyle Tucker. I had him above Bryce Harper also. So we talked about it earlier. I love Betts this year, and he's been great. But you got to figure that Turner goes ahead of him, Jose Ramirez goes ahead of him, Julio Rodriguez goes ahead of him.
Yeah, but Julio. I mean,
I just think he will.
I think he will, but yeah,
I'd have
Julio could hit 300 next year, and if he does. That's crazy. Stolen bases have slowed way down.
Way down. He had like 9 in April, and he's got 21 or 22 total.
He's at 23 now.
Yeah, there you go.
Just got paid. Good for him.
50% hard hit rate, 13.5% barrel at age 21.
Isn't that ridiculous?
Just stupid how good he is.
Yeah.
He ain't getting out of the top 4 next year in any main events, I don't think. Does a pitcher go in the top 5 next year, Jeff? Because I don't see one right now that's going to go in the top 5. And I think Jeff has officially frozen, which is good because we're at the end of the show anyway. Jeff is just sitting there looking over to the side. So I think Jeff had a little bit of an internet hiccup there, but we're about done anyway. So that's no worries at all. I want to thank everybody for listening to the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. If you're watching us live, That's fantastic. Also, we love all the comments. Everybody in there was really good. Anybody that listened to the audio version, we also appreciate that too. If you could please rate and review the podcast, would be fantastic. Also, we always appreciate that. For Jeff and his frozen face on the podcast right now, I am Scott Jenstad. You want to follow Jeff on Twitter? He is at Jeff_Erickson. I am at Scott Jenstad. Please hit us up anytime there on Twitter. Ask me a baseball question. We'll be talking a lot of baseball down the stretch here as Jeff and I both kind of battle for some leagues and some overalls here. It's going to be a lot of fun. Someone in the chat asked about dropping Javier Baez. I would not do it quite as of yet. In a 10-teamer, yeah, but a 15-teamer, no way. In a 12-teamer, I think I'm holding him. See how this back injury goes. If he starts to miss a lot of games, then maybe he becomes a drop free, but I think I'd wait until then. So thanks, everyone, for listening. We really very much appreciate it. I don't know where Jeff went, but it was a fun time anyway. So hope everybody has a great week. We'll be back at you next week. There's Jeff. I was just signing off. You want to say bye?
All right. So I don't know. I just my Mac rebooted. Maybe it's just doing some sort of
it was weird. After listening to me for 75 minutes, it was probably just time for it to go to bed.
Yeah, I guess there.
Well, I already signed off for us. I gave him all your Twitter and everything. Anything else? Any parting shots you got before we jump out of here?
No. I think fun time as always. Go at it hard. 6:40 is his first start time tomorrow.
Yep, and I know everybody's talking football and doing drafts, but stay locked into your baseball leagues because you'll be surprised how many guys you can pick up and how many moves you can make, because other people will probably be busy, especially starting 2 Sundays from now when there's a full NFL slate. A lot of people's FAAB time gets cut significantly percentage-wise once that comes around. So
absolutely.
Everybody have a fantastic week. We'll be back at you next Sunday night. Take care and have a good fantasy.